Hey everyone, my name is Chris Pordock. I'm the Chief Technology Officer of CloudWorks, and today I'm joined by...
Hi everyone, my name is Katie. I'm leading the partner enablement for MuleSoft automation at MuleSoft.
All right, and today we're going to be talking about hyper-automation. So first question, what are the digital trends you see today in automation?
Well, I think given the current climate that we're in, with things like the labor shortages, the supply chain disruption, and I think everyone's feeling the effects of global inflation. I think now more than ever is a time for businesses to be thinking about automation, but they're doing so in a slightly different way before. So it's more about being able to grow, but grow in an efficient way, and being able to achieve those cost savings and increase productivity. So yes, I think now more than ever, automation is really important to businesses. And in fact, over 80% of organizations will actually have hyper-automation in their roadmap over the next 2 years.
And just from my experience, I mean, we're talking to mid-size, small-size and large-size enterprises all the time. And it's really still very common that we find that we're talking to a business that still doesn't have an automation agenda or doesn't know much about automation. So it still feels there's a lot of opportunity within the market. Is that what you're seeing as well?
I mean, absolutely. I mean, there's a huge demand for automation in the market, like for organizations that are looking to reduce costs, improve efficiency, make the most of the resources they have. Like, automation is the answer to do all of those things.
Yep. So you use the term hyper-automation, and probably a lot of people are familiar with the term automation, but what would you say, how would you explain hyper-automation?
So I guess first of all, just to define what automation typically is, and when we talk about it, it's around being able to automate a business or IT process using like a single platform or technology. When we're talking about hyper-automation, it's more around using multiple tools or technologies to automate a full end-to-end process for the business.
What are the biggest challenges that you see businesses facing with respect to automation?
I think the biggest thing, and I think this is reflected by like a large number of CIOs, is that when you have to modify and rebuild an automation, when systems and business processes change, that has a massive burden on an organization. And typically that's because businesses haven't used the right tools or technologies in their approach to automation. So if we unpack that a little bit and try and understand why businesses are using the wrong tools and technologies, it really comes down to IT being like a burden and a bottleneck for businesses to be able to achieve the results they're looking for and speed up their processes. So they often turn to purchasing automation tools by themselves, going out and doing their own automations, and rarely IT is even across what automation tools have been purchased. So the challenge with that is, I guess there's two main challenges, is that because IT is not involved, they're not, I guess, they don't have the ability to provide that security and governance over the automations, and be able to see, I guess, what's been automated. So when things break, sometimes things can break and businesses don't even know they've broken because they're not being monitored effectively. So yes, I guess the biggest challenges are around not being able to have that monitoring and governance of automations, and then being able to modify them when things change. And inevitably IT has to get involved further down the track to do those things. So I guess the answer to that is being able to, I guess, change the way you think about automation and having like a unified platform for automation across IT and business teams, so that like IT is able to govern that access, create that secure access for the business users, and then be able to share that capability with the business to be able to automate as they need, but to do so in like a reusable way. So create these building blocks of capabilities and access to systems, and then giving them to the business to be able to piece them together to automate their processes.
Yeah, nice. This is one of the key challenges that we see with businesses as well, is there's been a flourishing of SaaS applications in the market these last 5 years, and it's very common for us to get into a business. And one of the biggest challenges that CIOs have is they don't even have an overview and understanding of all the apps within the ecosystem, because there's so many of them. Often these apps aren't talking to each other, and they can break, right? Because they don't have that IT governance, that IT visibility. And so I think bringing all that together in one platform definitely has a huge advantage. It feels like there's a lot of misconceptions out there still about hyper-automation. So would you be able to address some of those? What are some of the key misconceptions that you hear about with respect to hyper-automation?
Look, I think the biggest misconception is that automation and hyper-automation is taking away people's jobs. And like the main aim for it is to reduce the workforce. But I think in today's climate, it couldn't be further from the truth. So we sort of mentioned the labour shortages before, and I think all businesses have been impacted by the Great Resignation, and you have to consider there's an incredible cost associated with hiring new people and training them. So there's sort of a new renewed focus now on improving employee satisfaction, and taking away the sort of mundane manual tasks that employees have to do, so that they're able to focus more time on value-adding tasks for the business, but also improving their job satisfaction as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely what we see. I mean, often the types of processes that you're looking to automate with a bot are often the most mundane pieces of someone's job, and so if you can automate that and do it successfully, we've seen many times that customers actually love their robots because they're so happy that it's taken away something which they didn't particularly enjoy doing, and it just allowed them to do a lot more of what they do enjoy doing. And often that's it's more human activities. It's calling customers. It's working more closely with their colleagues. It's getting ahead, versus just trying to keep up. What is something that you wish everyone was doing more of?
So I think in regards to automation, it's being more strategic about the way you approach automation. So as we sort of talked about earlier, the biggest challenges for automation, and then you said as well, like just going and buying any type of SaaS tool to go and automate. Take a step back and think about what is it you want the automation to achieve. So have a look at what are the common, mundane, manual, repetitive business tasks that your employees are doing, but then prioritize those. So what is going to have the most impact on your business? What is going to reduce the most costs, improve the most productivity, and focus on those, and then develop a strategy around the automation, which involves determining the best tools and processes and platforms there to support, as we mentioned earlier, having that unified platform for end-to-end automation.
Yeah, I think what's really important as well is automation can be a very useful band-aid, but you shouldn't always necessarily use it as a band-aid, and you always need to be thinking about that long-term strategy. And often that strategy, it does make sense, for that particular system, for that particular process, to continue using a bot to automate it. But in some cases, it's a stepping stone as part of someone's, journey, or an organization's journey into becoming a more digital first organization. And in which case, I love how with Anypoint, you also have the core Anypoint platform. You've got API management, and it can be as simple as anything you build through RPAs exposes an API, and it doesn't stop you from then repurposing that API later down the line when you're able to enhance that process in some way. What is one piece of practical advice that you would give to an organization starting on their automation journey?
Look, I think with everything, knowledge is power. So I would say, just to get enabled on hyperautomation, what are the trends? What are other businesses like them doing in able to really achieve their automation goals?
For anyone out there starting on this journey, what are the key resources that you recommend that people refer to get started?
Well, at MuleSoft, we've actually recently released a new white paper called The CIO's Guide to Business Automation, which is a really great asset. I would recommend everyone go and check that out. It's available on our website at mulesoft.com.
Nice. So my experience, and I think my advice to anyone going on this journey is, use automation almost as like a flashlight into your business to explore and understand your back-end processes. A lot of times it's those front-end processes or the processes which are kind of closest to that human interaction, to customer interaction, that have the most focus. But often there's a huge amount of automation potential within those back-end processes. So my advice for organizations would be, start inquiring more about, sales operations, inquire more about accounts receivable and accounts payable. Ask those teams, where are they spending most of their time, and see if that can alert them to some, real good candidates for automation. Okay, well, thank you so much, Katie, for joining us. It was really great having you here, and thank you everyone for joining in, and stay tuned for the next episode where we'll be probably talking more about automation.